A lot of people are concerned what's wrong with this country, where it's going, and how we could have fallen from seeming grace at such a fast pace. The U.S. economy, and by large extent the global economy, is not your friend. The way the media, corporate interests, and politics are aligned, the average human has no chance of winning unless they somehow conform to all three or have their own influence or power. A mass number of individuals are utterly powerless in this country and completely ignored. If you think that one political party is going to save you, answer me this. Which political party has addressed the following? 500,000 dead due to robotic warfare in Iraq and in the Middle East. How many times have we heard about our disgusting legacy of civilian casualties when we seem to care so much about the handful of civilian casualties at the hands of the police? If we shared 1/100th of the interest in saving lives, we would not be okay with these endless wars and occupations with seemingly no results. It would be one thing if we got results from our occupations in the Middle East, but we don't. We don't even get a single bit of good out of this as American citizens, because the only people who are benefiting from these costly wars that bring back veterans traumatized, broke, disabled, and worse yet, psychotic from all the needless killing they had to do, and they turn around and bring that psychotic behavior, this bloodlust that they developed a taste for overseas because that was their job. They sign up for a new job in America where they channel that bloodlust and surprise, surprise, kill American citizens that look differently from them. Now, is police brutality an issue that is purely tied to Iraq war? No, absolutely not. The other thing that you'll never hear about is private prisons. The idea that somehow citizens of this country are being commoditized as slaves in the criminal system, being paid slave labor for corporate benefit. Now, they are not literally slaves, but given the economic circumstance, criminal justice system, a number of other factors, they don't need to be slaves because there is more than enough supply of broke people committing crimes to barely scrape by. And that is all they need, is to break the masses, keep them dependent on government dollars, while simultaneously milking them dry for their blood and sweat and tears in the prison system. Mass death from the U.S. imperial forces across the world, mass suffering from the broken criminal justice system and prison industrial complex, and downright lunacy that is caused by our soundbite culture that refuses to accept context as part of an argument. If you were to say, I support Black Lives Matter, but I believe that cops should be able to do your job, will you be treated as someone who supports Black Lives Matter or as someone who supports, law and order, for lack of a better term? Now, that statement would have you labeled by one party as tree-hugging liberal, bleeding heart liberal, and the other side would treat you as an all lives matter, alt-right, whatever. The fact that you can't express your opinion without being judged, even if it's wrong, even what is wrong with being wrong? If I say, look, I don't know a single thing about life in the inner city, I'm ignorant, but I have opinions, and I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong and want to learn more. What is wrong with that? In this culture, that is essentially jumping off the proverbial social cliff. You cannot express countering opinions in this country, and therefore there is no dialogue. If the dialogue is statement, agreement, then you do not have a discussion where anyone learns anything. If all you do is repeat the same things that were said to you, you're not applying your own critical thinking skills, and therefore you are letting the select few that run the narrative completely control everything that you perceive through the media. The lens of the media is crafted by a handful of people that steer the narrative, and everything else is either rejected or conforms to it. There is no such thing as, I'm going to write a detailed article on an hour-and-a-half long conversation on CNN. It simply does not exist. Nor does it exist in the social media snippet era, where all I need to do is have one soundbite and I can frame an entire argument around a few words that completely contradict hours of words. And yet, we're wondering why our economy is crippled under coronavirus. If it weren't for the fact that rich people completely manufacture the economy, as demonstrated by the founder of capitalism, Adam Smith, this is completely unequivocally true, that the top percent rule the market and dictate the terms for everyone else. Shit rolls downhill, and that is because humans feel the need to control other humans, and that is a base instinct that humanity must evolve from, or else we are going to be stuck in an insider-outsider group that continually rapes the bottom half of any social structure in a brutal manner that completely robs people of their agency, of their individual human will, and conforms a society into a structure which is completely manipulatable by the elite. And why it is that somehow we have turned this into an us versus them, right versus left, when it's really an upward versus downward. The bottom 90% of human beings are at the mercy of the top 10%. Now, this isn't some nefarious plot where people are being stuffed into jars and buried deep under the earth. This isn't some crazy conspiracy that you'd read on paranoidechochamber.com. This is reality. Reality is those that choose what they want on a massive level with massive influence control the narrative, and that does not make a single human being. It does not take into account anything but their interests. So if my interests as a corporation are to control my stock price, my supply chain, my ability to make money, then I am going to act in those interests ahead of any other's interests. And that is why the market economy, why we live in a basically a pussy-footed empire that doesn't want to admit it's a militaristic empire, that loses money left and right, that somehow is bankrolled by capitalist blood of the system. So what is the solution? The solution is to step out of your socioeconomic bubble and listen to the world in its entirety, and to understand that you don't have to have the right answer. All you have to do is care about finding the right answer and be willing to admit you're wrong. Nothing I've said here is biblical truth. I am expressing a point of view which could easily be wrong, and I accept that, and I am willing and interested to find out more. And the fact that humanity can't do that is upsetting and depressing. So, hang in there, people.